Hey,
Hello, my name is Selena.
and my name's Theoni, and you are listening to Piping Hot.
Welcome back to another episode of Piping Hot, gentle listeners. I think it's safe to say that today's episode topic is like the most anticipated topic that we've talked about.
Oh, 100%. Selena and I have been hard at work, you guys. We literally binged Bridgerton so fast. I literally finished the finale today, and I cannot fully function anymore. Like it was, so good.
Theoni, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking. I have to give a shout out to Antonia. She sent me the nicest little gift. I already showed you, but I just have to tell everyone. So she got me positive energy and stress relief yogi tea because Selena talked about having that. So now we can match. And then she also made a mug with my godson on it that says spill the tea. Like, what the heck? It's literally the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I am drinking the stress relief one because I have been very stressed lately, and I took a sip of it and I automatically forgot about everything I had to do. So
Wow, that's great that it went through your system and you're all good.
I'm fully lying about that, but it does taste really good.
Yeah. You're just thinking yourself into it. You're like, the stress is going away.
Exactly. Total placebo.
Yeah.
But I love it. What are you drinking?
I am drinking the peppermint tea that you got me at Christmas. I don't know. I was just feeling for something familiar.
Nice.
Nothing too crazy. So peppermint it is for today.
How was your week? How are you doing? Any big updates?
No, I'm doing good. I feel, I don't know. It's the first time in a really long time that I feel really good. Work is starting to slow down and I'm able to breathe, which is crazy because work hasn't been slow since October and now it's just finally slowing down. So it's weird to go back to what was normal because I've been so adjusted to constantly doing stuff, but I love it and it's just it's really nice.
I feel not that you don't enjoy it during the busy times too, but I feel it's nice to not be so slammed with work. So you can have the slower times to be wow, I actually love what I do and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm glad things are going so well. It's nice for a change to just be take a step back.
Yeah.
And you're wow, things are actually going well.
Yes. Okay, wait, there is one thing too that I need to tell you. Because I don't think I told you this. I told my sisters, but I did not tell you this.
What happened?
So I have my wedding veil hanging up in my bedroom because it's still a little wrinkled and I just want it. I want it to hang so it doesn't get wrinkled, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's so long that from where I was hanging it, it was on the floor. A little bit of it was on the floor.
Yeah.
And you know that I have a robot vacuum. Her name is Martha. We have Martha go vacuum during dinner. And she'll go to the rooms and stuff. And I thought my veil was fine.
No.
Literally until I, on a random freaking day, I was oh, I just want to go look at my wedding veil again. I pick it up and I look at the end, the bottom of it, and some of it is ripped off.
No. Selena, no.
Yes, because freaking Martha vacuumed over it. And got caught up in it. And so a bunch of at the ends you could see it was torn out. So it was straight and then torn. It was really bad.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
So did you have to get a new veil? Were you able to trim it? I would have fully had a meltdown, probably.
I did too.
Yep.
did too. So I was planning on just trimming it. But then I looked at it and it's very clean, and so I was afraid if I cut it, I would ruin it, and it would look really weird in the pictures. But also, it's curved, like a U almost.
Okay.
So I was afraid that I would get that wrong too. So I was you know what? I should just buy a new one, and so I did.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I am so sorry. Yeah. I cannot. When you fully go in just being I just want to look at it,
Yeah.
and you're you've got to be freaking joking me right now. I feel so bad.
I know. It's okay. I got another one. It was just like an accident. And so now when the new one comes in, I'm going to find a very special place to hang it because I'm not resting
Martha's not going to touch that one. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Frickin' Martha.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
How has your week been?
Girl, my week's been okay. I feel like it's been a little bit chaotic. Like, so Thursday, I was fully planning on going to the library to get just like a bunch of stuff done because I have so many assignments coming up.
Yeah.
I ended up taking like a 3-hour nap. I did literally nothing. I said, oh, it's self-care. No, I needed to get myself out of bed. But guess what? I didn't. That was fine. Internship has just been crazy. And then this weekend, Friday night, I hung out with my friend Sam, and then we went out with some of my friend Katie's friends. And then Saturday, I had work early, 7 a.m. after going out. Loved that. And I said, oh, let's do that again Saturday. So then last night, I went out for a couple friends' birthdays, and we got one of those karaoke rooms. So we like rented it out. And karaoke, I'm like, let's go. So I sang so many things. My voice is totally shot. And then I worked again this morning at 7 a.m. And then I came home, took like an hour nap, and then finished Bridgerton, started writing this case conceptualization that's due tonight actually, and I haven't finished it, but I'll just finish it after we're done with the podcast. I fully am like, my motivation has never been lower. But anyways, that's my life.
Holy crap, Theoni. You've had a packed freaking week.
Yes, ma'am.
Holy crap. Okay, wait. Yeah. How did you like the karaoke room?
Oh, I loved it. Okay. It was so much fun. And I feel like I could do that with like a couple of my friends or like with a big group, and it's totally fun. And it's so nice because when you're with a group of people, you just like do not care at all, and you can just go full out,
I know. Yeah, no, I love karaoke rooms.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And I had never done one before, so I was like very happy.
You were living your best life, really.
Right? Oh my gosh. I really was. They didn't let me go first though. They're like, you can sing. You can't go first. I was like, yeah. But when I've had a few drinks in me, it's not like I sound good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have to send you this video. I recorded it of my friend and I, and we sang Living on a Prayer, and wow.
Amazing.
I fully thought I was hitting all the notes, and I really...
Oh, you were not.
No. Anyways, should we talk about our pop culture moments?
Yes.
Okay. You go first.
Okay. First thing, listeners, Theoni and I read a quick novel together like last week. No. And it's called Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, and you may have heard of it because it took BookTok by storm. And so I was like, oh my God, I will get Theoni to read it with me. Mind you, I have never read it, and I only heard from BookTok. I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that I should never listen to BookTok again because they have really bad takes.
I hated that book. Like, none of it made sense. No. I could do an entire hour-long rant on how horrible it was. Like, she's like, you know what? I don't care if my friends are dying. I'm gonna just stay in this cave and have sex with this literal monster. Yes. And she's like, oh, this isn't a normal human, so let me just see what the horns can do. Sorry. What? But like, apparently I was talking to my friends about it, and they read the sequel, and they said it was like equally as horrible.
Holy crap, really?
Yes. And you guys, for you listening, if you don't know this, there are 22 books in the series. 22 books based off of Ice Planet Barbarians. What world are we living in?
Like, what else do you have to write that you have to have 22 books? Like, that's because the thing is too is that like book one, nothing freaking happened. So like, what are you doing with the 22 other books? you know?
I genuinely have no idea. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about it. It was just horrible.
Just a warning that don't read Ice Planet Barbarians and don't always listen to BookTok because they are wrong.
Genuinely, I tried to like it in an I hate you kind of way, but I could not get there. Yeah.
Okay, next thing. You actually sent me this, but I just wanted to mention it for our listeners that there was the new trailer for The Time Traveler's Wife on HBO Max.
Why? Why? I mean, Theo James, which I told Selena, I will watch anything you're in. I would love to look at you. I don't really care. Yeah. However, the movie was so good, and I just wonder, like, it almost looks the same. I'm like, is it going to be the movie just like extended? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though, too? Because in the trailer, it's like the wife, I think her name is Claire, played by Rose Leslie. She was like talking to the camera kind of like a documentary. So I wonder if they're going to like spin it a little bit where they're like documenting the time traveler's wife and like her story or whatever. I don't know. I loved the movie. I'm keeping my mind open for the TV show, but I'm just like, I don't know. The movie was just so good, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. Well, one time Selena and I watched that movie together. Selena and I talk during movies all the time. That movie, we didn't talk. We look at each other at the end with tears down our face.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I do remember that we did not talk during that movie.
No, we didn't, which is insane.
Yeah. Because we were so like captured by it. Oh my God.
I know. Crazy.
Okay. Next thing. Did you see the Miss Marvel trailer that dropped?
No.
Theoni.
What the heck?
Okay. Well, also you had a really hectic week. So it's so good. So Miss Marvel is going to be a TV show on Disney Plus, and it looks so cute and like young, but like so good at the same time. It's like
nice.
I don't know. I'm like intrigued to see what Marvel does with it because I feel like this is very, very young for Marvel, whereas we've gotten like more serious and mature and kind of funny content from them, but this one seems like really fun, very like young and stuff. So I'm really interested to see how people like react to it, but it looks so good and I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I think it's kind of nice they're doing something different too. Yeah. Like, why not? And maybe it'll get like younger people to like be into it, you know, like pull in a new audience. So I'm excited to see it. I need to watch the trailer after this.
And then well, actually, I don't know if I need to mention that. I'll mention that next week, maybe. Or maybe you'll mention it. Okay. Last one. Sorry.
Guys,
I just thought out loud.
I was like, huh? What? Okay.
Okay. The last one. So random, but I think this sound on TikTok kind of blew up after our trip to Boston, and I don't think I've talked to you about it yet, but I just want to bring it up on the podcast. It's the sound of like Kim Kardashian being like, just get up and like work your effing ass off. Like, that's been like going around on TikTok so much.
Crazy.
But then also like the discourse around it is crazy as well. And so I just wanted to mention it because I feel like that was a really big thing that kind of blew up in like mid-March.
Honestly, I remember that because it was all over my For You page too.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing. Maybe this isn't fair of me to say. I think there is some degree of validity to what she said. Yeah. And I think they fully used to just live off of like the fame and like their life. Now I feel like they're actually like really good business people, and I don't think people can discredit that. But also I feel like it was completely disregarding so many like factors that people deal with, and like I don't know, it's not just as easy as getting up and working.
Oh like, no, not at all.
Because people still work so hard and like can get nothing for it.
Exactly.
So that really made me mad. I get the back and forth about it is what I'm fully saying.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree as well. I just like the connections too. Like if you look at Kris Jenner, literally just her and her connections, like that opens like a million doors.
Literally.
And then if you go down to like Kim K, that opens another million doors. You know,
Yep.
it's just like, it's just unfortunately like the people that you know are going to help you. It's not just like working all the time.
100%.
Okay, well, that is the end of my pop culture things. What do you have?
So a couple things that don't really need to be discussed, but I just want to mention. Number one, Amanda Bynes' conservatorship ended, which I'm really happy about because it definitely wasn't. I mean, I guess maybe there's more going behind the scenes, but there was not as much like discourse about it as there was for like Britney Spears.
Yeah, I did. I saw that and I was so happy for her. I was
I'm
like,
really happy for her
and
too.
these like stupid conservative ships that like literally don't do anything.
Literally.
Except for the person who's like in it, you know?
Yep. Another thing I want to mention is that Kylie Jenner's son's name is not Wolf anymore. They just said, you know what? I'm going to take my child's name. And I still haven't heard the new one. If they even have a new one.
I don't think they announced it yet, but I also saw that and I was just like, that's so weird. Like oops, nope, never mind. I changed my mind. Like,
Which
okay.
I heard some people saying like better to change it now if you like don't feel like it fits. But like I mean, this is going to sound very judgmental because it is, but like you named your kid Wolf. So
Yeah.
let's maybe think about how that could have been a good decision.
The baby's not a dog. Like you can't just rename it after it like goes from its foster home to like its actual forever home. You know, like
yes.
I'm just like, this is so weird. Anyways.
Okay. If you guys are as big of a Joshua Bassett fan as we are, you need to go read his People story and even their TikTok has been like posting a ton of videos of him and like People's TikTok. And he's just amazing. And I just love him.
The one thing that like I said that I was going to skip was the Joshua Bassett article.
Really?
Because I haven't read it yet. So I was like, oh, maybe I should mention it. Like, whatever.
You have to read it. I mean, to be honest, I feel like a good chunk of it is stuff we already knew from that one podcast we listened to that we mentioned in our Joshua Bassett episode. But like, it's still him and you should still read it.
Yeah, no, I definitely will.
And then another thing is that Kanye was pulled from the Grammys. He's not able to perform at the Grammys anymore.
I did see that. A part of me thinks that's like great. You know, I'm really happy that the Grammys said that. But another part of me is like, okay, well, like, does that just feed more fuel to the fire? Like, I know. You know, I'm like intrigued to be like, okay, well, what is he going to do with this? Because I feel like he's on the opposite side of the spectrums where he can be totally okay with it, weird, like, you know, like weirdly okay with it, but then on the other side he can be like incredibly angry, you know.
Well, I also think about this from like the mental health perspective. I'm like, okay, to some degree people need to learn how to have consequences for their actions. From our perspective as people who aren't obviously living his life, it doesn't seem like he's gotten a lot of consequences for like his actions. But on the other side of it, I'm like, how much is that going to do? He needs like more help than just not being able to perform at the Grammys.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like, I don't know. I feel weird about it.
Have you seen Trevor Noah's take on this whole entire situation?
No.
It's so freaking good. Like,
really?
It's so well put together. And he points out some like really great comparisons of like how we look at, you know, an abuser, but an abuser in a celebrity status, and just kind of talking about how like the general people aren't sure if what Kanye is saying is true or not, or like if he's being serious, because we literally can't like define the line where he's like, oh, I'm kidding, or like, oh, this is art, to like, no, I'm actually serious. It's
100%.
super good. Yeah.
Okay, I will have to go watch that because I think it's such an interesting situation, like honestly. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing that I have to bring up, did you see that Doja Cat quit music?
Yes, I did.
People are saying it's not real and she'll come back, which I think maybe she will come back eventually. But like, I also feel like she was fully fed up with it.
I agree. You know what? So the thing is that like I don't follow Doja Cat too closely, but what I've seen is that she has been like overworked so much. She has been doing so much stuff. I guess I'm not surprised to see that decision come from her. It's sad because like her music is so good and she's very, very talented. I like definitely understand.
Yeah,
you know?
I get it too. I mean, I feel like maybe she was like in the industry for a lot longer than people realize, but I also feel like her fame came on very, very fast too.
Oh yeah.
So like
so
she
fast.
blew up.
Yeah.
So cray. But that's all I have. Should we jump into Bridgerton?
Let's do it.
I can't.
I'm so excited.
I'm literally so excited. I like typed my synopsises, whatever. I typed them as I was watching. So I haven't read them since I watched the episodes. So they fully could make no sense.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, you know me and my track record of synopsis. I suck at them. So I just pulled mine from Wikipedia.
Selena. Remember that time you read me a synopsis and I was like, Selena, you are brilliant. You need to do this for a living. And you're like, I got it from IMDb. I was like, Kate.
I was like, plagiarism.
Yeah, literally. Oh my gosh. All right. So Selena and I are just going to go back and forth with the episodes and we're just going to fully react and dive into everything that was Bridgerton season 2.
Also, if you haven't seen Bridgerton season 2, please know that at this point, there are going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back. It's only 8 episodes. Trust me, you can binge it super fast. Me and Theoni did it. So
yes. Yes. Spoilers alert.
Yes.
Okay. Here's my synopsis for episode 1.
Okay.
I can't even talk. Okay. In episode 1, we see Anthony. Is it okay? Hold on. Is it Anthony or Antony?
Okay. I was gonna ask you this.
I have no idea.
So I think in the show they say Anthony because of their accent, but like obviously on paper it's spelled like Anthony. So Anthony. I guess I was gonna say Antony because that's how they say it in the show.
Okay, I'll say Anthony too then.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Ever since I stopped it today, I have been speaking in a British accent. I don't know what it is. Yes, I have because I'm freaking weird. I've literally just been talking and like I feel like I sound really good, but I fully don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, wow.
I love
this
it.
show has like infiltrated my brain. Okay.
Yeah.
In episode 1, we see Anthony having to take on the responsibility as head of the house. He is very practical and has a specific list of what he wants in a wife. It also becomes known that Eloise is to be part of the court this year, which she clearly does not want to be. We also get introduced to Kate and her family, who are working with Miss Danbury for training. Kate and Anthony meet on their horse, and there is major flirting right away. The Featheringtons also find themselves in need of husbands and dowries as their fortune starts to run out. Crazy.
Okay, I just have to say your like synopsis and summaries are literally the best ever. I love them so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, and this is just like a general note for like throughout the season, but the episode 1 starts out with a Daphne coming home, and I like love how they incorporated Daphne throughout the season. Like she wasn't the main character, but she still had like a very important role, I feel like.
Okay,
which we'll talk more about. But.
Yes, I have thoughts about it, but I'll save it for the later episodes. But I am happy that we did get to see Daphne, and then we also got to see her like a little baby, like so cute. Like I love that because, again, I think like I hold season 1 so near and dear because it was so freaking good. But yeah, I will talk about Daphne later.
I think season 2 matched season 1 easily. Like
really?
It almost could have been better. Like, I don't know. Hot take, but I thought it was like fantastic.
Oh, okay. I think I'm the opposite. I think I still really like season 1 because of the Duke of Hastings. Freaking love that guy. Literally in love. Will do anything for him. Okay. But I will say what I liked the most of season 2 compared to season 1 is the chemistry between Anthony and Kate. That was top tier.
Holy crap. Okay. I'm not going to say anything more right now because we have to go episode by episode. And oh my gosh, I'm literally shaking because now I'm thinking, I know, because now I'm literally thinking about these. Okay. Anyways, I grew to love Eloise so much this season. Like when she came out right away with the feathers on her head, I was like cracking up. Just her expression and her distaste for like the whole thing. I love it so much.
Yeah, I think like I really, really liked Eloise in season 1. Season 2 just like proved that like I loved her even more, you know? Like I just 100%. She was fantastic.
We also kind of get a glimpse at the beginning of the episode about what the queen wants for the season and like how she is like very, very set on finding out who Lady Whistledown is. And so like she's like, I know it's somewhere who's higher up, blah, blah, blah. I also think it's interesting that Lady Whistledown completely disappears during the year and only comes out for the season.
The season. Yeah. I guess like I understand that though, because like the season is so important, so I feel like there's so much stuff happening then. So I'm not too surprised. But also, don't like people leave London after the season? They like go to their own estates. So I guess another thing too is that like no one's really in London other times outside of the season. So
I thought Anthony's list of what he wants out of a suitor was like, are you kidding me? Like he literally said he wants someone who looks like they have childbearing hips. Like what are you saying?
He said suitable hips for childbearing and half a brain. My comment says, sir, the bar is on the effing ground. Like, I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I was just trying to think back to season 1 during episode 1 of season 2. I was thinking, I was like, was Anthony really like this big of a dick? But maybe he was, because I was so focused on the Duke of Hastings that I kind of didn't focus on Anthony. And so like this season, I was like, wow, he is such a douche. Like, oh my gosh.
No, he totally is. I also love how we got so much more of a focus on Penelope throughout the season. And I really like how at the beginning of this episode, they kind of showed us how Penelope gets her information. You know what I mean? And like, I really like figuring that out, because I always wondered, I'm like, okay, well, how much can you really hear? But the way that she like will pick little things up and remember them and piece them together is like really interesting to me.
And I loved that they like played on the theme of like, oh, she's like a wallflower. Like she's just like standing next to the wall during like all these balls and kind of like playing it off like because she's technically not looking for a husband in this season, but she still has an excuse to go to the balls. So it's like perfect for her to just like listen.
Exactly. I don't remember what this quote, maybe you'll remember, but I wrote this quote down.
Okay.
He said, all the young ladies look like the same young ladies.
Oh, okay. I think that makes sense. I think he was talking to either Benedict about it.
Probably. Which, oh my gosh, I feel like we really got to know all the characters this season, which I don't feel like we did in the first one, which I love.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I am such a Colin girl. I'm so obsessed with him. I like love him.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I have a hot take on that, but I will go back to your other comment that I agree the side characters and the side plots were top tier this season.
Yes.
So good. Like I was just baffled that everyone had a story arc,
right?
Which is super hard considering there's literally a million characters. But I was just so impressed. I was like, wow, everyone has kind of like a high point and then a low point and then kind of going back up. And I was like, that's crazy that they were able to fit it into 8 episodes.
And then, okay, the way Anthony was like interviewing the girls, I was like, dude, like, why are you doing this? I pointed this one out specifically when he asked, like, do you read? And she goes, books?
Yes.
What do you think he's talking about?
Theoni, I literally have the same quote in my notes. I said, do you read books? And then all in caps afterward, I say, sir, I read books. Pick me.
Pick me. Yeah. Choose me. Love me. Oh, literally, please.
But I agree. The interviews were so hilarious. It kind of reminded me of like a classic 2000s like rom-com of like the montage and stuff. I thought it was just so funny.
It was so funny. Okay, do you want to see my next note?
Yes.
In all caps, I said... OMG, his butt. I fully wasn't expecting that Yeah, right away. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yes.
And then my next note under that says he was not attractive before, but he is now.
Like compared to like season 1.
Yes, and it's because they got rid of those stupid muffin chops or whatever they call them. Ugh,
I agree.
That made a huge difference. And then my next note says, "Who's on the horse? It's his girl. Oh, he likes her jumping over that bush. Why is their look to each other so good?" Like this is my stream of consciousness. Like I just felt like I don't know how someone can look at someone like that, but the way they look at each other, I'm like.
It held like a million words.
Literally.
Like, it's just like, it was so intense. I really did like their like meet cute because I loved it that it was a competition.
Yes,
like,
because it fits them so well.
Yeah, it sets the tone to their relationship so well that it's a freaking competition. Also, so random. The fog when they're like writing, it very much reminds me of Pride and Prejudice. If you've
never seen it. I know it's a tragedy.
You would freaking love it, Theoni. Oh my gosh.
I need to watch it.
If you love Bridgerton, you would love Pride and Prejudice.
Well, Bridgerton's like the first historical something I feel like I've liked. So,
okay.
Besides Rain.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Yes. Of course, yeah.
I love that she does not introduce herself right away, and she's like, "I can't introduce myself when I have a victory lap to do." And then she rides off on her horse. I was like, "Oh, interesting." I fell in love with Kate right away. Like she's proper, but she's adventurous, and she's really balanced, and I love her character.
So I was a little iffy on her for the first episode, but then when the second episode rolled around, I was like, okay, I'm on board. I got you. Yeah.
See, I was on board right away. I also think she's like maybe the prettiest human I've ever seen in my entire life.
Gorgeous.
Both of them, Edwina and her.
Yes. So gorgeous.
Holy crap. You know who's the real star of the show?
Who?
Newton. The Courtney. Yes! I love him.
I love him so much. I was like, yes, of course a corgi is in Bridgerton.
And like when she's like, he's a good judge of character. Like he does so yes. And then the fact that she's 26 and they were calling her an old hag. I was like, okay, well, thank you for that. Are you kidding me? I mean, it makes sense for the time period, I guess, but...
Remind me again, Anthony is like 29, right? Or is he 30? I thought he was 29.
I think he's supposed to be 30. Could be wrong.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, you know what? When they said her age, I was so confused because they said 6 and 20. And I was like, you mean 26?
Yeah. I was like, why are you saying it like that?
Yeah.
I knew from the very first episode that by the end of the season, Eloise was going to figure out who Lady Whistledown was. Because she was like on that right away. I mean, like, how could she not? And I really like how Eloise was on Penelope's side right away and like was inspiring her to add more to what Lady Whistledown was saying besides just reporting gossip. So I really like that. But it's just crazy how that comes up later, you know?
To be honest, I thought Eloise had dropped it from season 1. Oh. So I was surprised when she kind of hopped back on the train and I was like, okay, like, I guess, I don't know. I feel like that's very like Eloise of her to like dive back in, you know?
Totally.
I figured that if she was diving in a second time, she would figure it out this season.
Yeah. Okay. And then I said, not Material Girl 1800s edition.
Yes. The soundtrack for Bridgerton season 2, amazing.
Oh my gosh. Like at the end, when they started playing Wrecking Ball, I was like, I'm going to freaking die.
No, it was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Anthony is so funny. Like when he called everyone sparse crop, I was like, why are you being so rude to everybody? During like one of the first balls when Anthony and Kate make eye contact and he totally cannot focus at all. And I feel like that happens so many times.
I know.
And I wrote, I don't know what this is referring to, but it said he, and this was outside of the ball when he's talking with the dudes and Kate hears him and I was like, holy crap. And then she kicked the ball and he heard her and oh my gosh, that was like, I was dying.
I was so happy that she chewed him out. Like, cause she was like, oh, that's all you want in like a wife or whatever. Like, that's great. You'll never ever get close to me or my sister. And I was like, you know what? You go, Kate, because Anthony has been a dick this entire episode.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But I will say, when he said, so you find my smile pleasing, and I know that was in one of the previews. Yeah. So I knew it was coming, but like, what? And then I said, oh, he likes being put in his place. Ha 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 ha. Because he does. He does. Yeah.
Their enemies to lovers is like top tier. Like, I can't. It's so good.
Incredible. It's incredible. I know this is such a small part of like everything, but when Eloise was sitting next to that one like ginger, like literal infant, and then he's like, oh, marbles, I love marbles, I felt her pain. I was like, this is so cringy.
100%.
This made me mad. In general, Penelope's family is so rude to her. Like, actually, like when the sister said, as if he would ever waste his ink on anyone like you. Like, are you kidding me? Leave her alone.
And you know what? I think that's like why she does Lady Whistledown, just because it's the only power that she has.
Yes,
you know?
100%.
And I like 100% support that, because like words can be very, very powerful. And she 100% proves that. I don't know. I can just like sympathize with her and like feel like why she started Lady Whistledown in the first place.
And I feel like you understand that more as the season goes on as well.
Oh, yeah.
Explain this to me, because I might have missed something. Where did Kate come from, in the sense that like, because she's only a half sister?
Kate's father married Edwina's mother, but it was a scandal for them to get married, because Edwina's mother was like a high class, and Kate's father was low class, so they ran away together. And then Edwina's mom and then Kate's dad had Edwina. And that's how they're related.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I was so confused by that. Okay. Okay, so then the fact that Edwina becomes the diamond, which I was like, okay, that's great for her.
Yeah, I saw that coming like a million miles away, but she deserves it though, because she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous and like the kindest person ever. But then I said, OMG, no, Anthony, you have to be with Kate. What the heck? I can't handle this. And I said, Edwina checks the box, but there's no spark. Like, I get the responsibility he feels, but I'm like, no. Yeah. I was so annoyed right away. And then she says, oh, if you want to marry me, you'll have to get my sister's blessing. So you're saying Anthony has to talk to Kate to get the blessing? Like, what are you talking about?
When I like figured that out, because again, I remember texting you and being like, oh, I didn't know that season 2 he would originally be going for her sister. I remember texting you that and being like, oh my god, this is going to be such a good plot, because of that like little like hoop that they have to like jump through.
It sets it up right away, and you're like, I know how this is going to go down. Basically, the episode ends with Anthony saying that Edwina's going to be the one that he marries. And I was like, oh.
I have a take on that though.
Okay.
When because he's looking at both of them, right?
Sure.
But the camera is up close to his face, so we don't know who he's looking to, and he's like, yeah, she's the one I'll marry.
Yes.
So I was like, who are you talking about though?
Yes.
Who are you talking about?
Yes, I remember that. I forgot that happened, but you're totally right. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I know it's going to be Edwina, but I want it to be Kate.
Yes. Okay, wait. I have a couple of other things I want to mention for episode 1. Just super quick though. So when Kate and Edwina are talking in the room, I don't know what they talk about, but it's super cute, super like sister lovey-dovey. And Kate says, oh my God. Kate says, he will speak in a manner that only your heart can hear. And I'm like, that's beautiful. Like, that's what you want to find in a partner. And I was like, wow, Kate, you're so smart. I know. Eloise and Penelope had like a cute little talk too, and like the feel that they like laid it. Eloise said, quote, you're constantly disappointing people just by walking into a room. I was like, oh my gosh, I felt that. That was like right to the heart when she was talking about like, you know, how she can't go on with the season because it's just not her, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah. I love their friendship so much.
Oh, me too. Okay, we'll get to that though later. Are we ready for episode 2?
Yes.
Okay. So this one is called Off to the Races, and here is the synopsis. Edwina has drawn the eye of several suitors, and Kate has taken charge of deciding which ones Edwina will meet. To Anthony's dismay, she is staunchly against Anthony courting her. Colin returns from his travels, while Eloise becomes intrigued with finding out Lady Whistledown's identity once again. After learning that Edwina will be at the horse races accompanied by another lord, Anthony takes his family and manages to, or tries to like integrate himself with like Edwina and her family. Queen Charlotte plans to use Edwina to unmask Lady Whistledown and invites the Sharmas to the palace. Benedict entertains the prospect of studying art, and at a soiree hosted by Lady Danbury, Anthony impresses Edwina with a speech. And then episode 2 ends with Madame Delacroix catching Penelope at a market. Episode 2 for me is when it started to really ramp up. I felt like episode 1 was just like kind of laying the ground, which is fine, right? That's the job of the first episode. But the second episode, I was like, okay, finally there are stakes. I can feel tension. Like there's it's like building up, and I was like, yes, I love it.
Literally.
So I have to first say that they open up this episode with kind of like a montage of both like the Bridgertons and the Sharmas, and they're like talking and stuff, and Anthony goes, every rose has its thorn, and he's like determined to like take out the thorn because he's talking about Kate, who's the thorn, and like he like looks so determined, and I was like, yes. Yes. I was so excited. Like I saw that. I was like, yeah, you're going to take out the thorn.
Yeah, you are. You will.
And then moving on to the horse races, when Mr. Dorset approached Kate, and I think it was Lady Danbury or maybe her mom, he approached and he was like, oh, I was hoping to speak with you instead of her sister. And I like gasped because I was like,
same. I was like,
someone wants to talk to her?
The old hag?
Yeah, the old hag.
Literally.
Yeah. Another thing for the horse races, when they're arguing about which horse will win, and Anthony goes, you think too much, and then Kate goes, you too little, I died. I was like, their chemistry and banter is so funny.
It's so funny. I don't even understand how... Like, I fully believe they're in love. Like, I don't...
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I just, like, I can't believe that their chemistry was that great. Like,
I know.
It blew my mind.
Honestly.
I think this is the first time that we meet Theo at the print shop.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I immediately fell in love. Same. I was like, he's cute, he's smart, he's everything that Eloise wants, and I'm like, oh my god, she deserves everything, you know.
And I felt just a little something right away, and I was like, oh my gosh, because we've never seen Eloise even give anyone the time of day or thought. So I was like, oh, I love that.
So I think this is after the horse race, and at one point, you know, Anthony is still trying to like woo Edwina, and he brings Edwina a horse, but then he gets like a bunch of stuff wrong, and you can tell
she's talking about the book.
Yes, you can tell that Edwina is like, oh, thanks for the horse, like it's really weird. And then Kate is so smug, being like, yeah, it's from a book, you would have known if you talked to her and you listened to her. And I was like, yes, Kate, that's it.
Okay, I felt like she was being so harsh though. I was like, he got a freaking horse, like he's trying, and you're just crapping on him. Like, I don't know.
Okay, yes, but no, because I think I definitely understand where Kate is coming from. Like she really wants to protect her sister, and it's like very clear that like Anthony doesn't listen to her and like what she wants. Sure. And like she knows that Edwina won't be satisfied with Anthony. Sure. So I'm like, a part of me is like, okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense that, you know, she was talking about a horse from a book. And you said you wanted someone who read, you know? The second episode kind of ends with like this poetry reading that Lady Danbury puts on for
Edwina. All the suitors.
Yeah, for Edwina to meet all these suitors and all these guys, right? I don't know about you, but I was like so annoyed with Anthony at this point. One, he took Benedict's poem, which is gorgeous, by the way, but he took it trying to like act like it was his own, and then he's like trying so hard to be someone that he's not, that like I kind of just felt like very embarrassed for him. I was just like, if you could just like act yourself and not try as hard, it would be easier. But I don't know, I feel like he's such on a high pedestal at this point in episode 2, where I was like, dude, you just need to chill the F out.
I understand all of that.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have so much empathy for Anthony now that it's hard for me to discuss these episodes now.
Oh, yes.
In the like lens of like having known everything else now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, I actually feel like it was good that he ended up not taking Benedict's poem as his own and like threw it in the fire or whatever.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. He was fully trying too hard and trying to like impress Edwina to the point where he wasn't being himself. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, and I will say though, at the end of episode 2, I was like really, really annoyed with him. Beginning of episode 3, completely switched. Like it was just like a switch in me. I was like, oh, hold on, wait a second. That's how episode 2 ends.
Okay, so time to start episode 3. Here is my synopsis. Again, I haven't read this since I watched it, so who's to say what it'll be. The episode begins with a 10 years flashback to the death of the Bridgerton father. We get a glimpse into the trauma Anthony has faced. The Featheringtons are hatching a plan to save their family, and Daphne returns with her baby. The Sharmas arrive to the Bridgerton home. Daphne seems to catch on that there's something between Anthony and Kate, but still tends to Edwina. Then there is a game of croquet that reveals a lot. Anthony and Kate have a lot of emotions and past thoughts brought up. We really get a background on why Anthony is the way he is and why he believes what he believes. The Featheringtons have dinner with Lord Featherington and a potential suitor for him. That is the synopsis. So it's interesting that you said episode 2 is where you feel like a lot of stuff happening. I agree to some degree, but episode 4 was when I was like, holy crap, which we will get to.
I agree. It did like ramp up. I feel like there was no point of return after episode 3. Like things just kind of like kept going and going and going, and that it got so bad. But yeah, no, I agree with you.
Well, and it's interesting we're talking about like Anthony and understanding him more because of the way episode 3 begins. Yeah. With like how we see that he witnessed his dad dying by the bee sting. Yeah. And like the fact that he witnessed it and then his mother is over here crying and then he has to manage everything and everyone's in his face right away. Yeah. He didn't even have time to like process what happened. Yeah. And so from that point on, I was like, I fully understand why you feel such a deep need to like take care of everybody.
Do you want to see my thought process and my notes for the beginning of episode 3? I say 1, random, but love that we got to see the dad for the first time. Immediately after, oh my God, this turned so dramatic, so epic fast. And literally after that, I say, oh he died in her arms. OMG, I'm crying.
It was like so sad. Like it flipped so fast.
So freaking fast. I was not prepared for it.
No, I wasn't either. I thought we were just going to get like a little like background into what the father was like, Anthony and his relationship, that kind of thing. I'm sorry. The Featheringtons throughout this entire season, I was like, what are you doing with your life? The fact that they're now trying to set up the cousins, I don't care if you're 4th cousins, I don't care if you're whatever, no.
I thought that was really weird. I was like, oh, is that really happening? Like, oh, okay, I guess, like whatever.
And Penelope fully thinks it's weird too. Oh, like she's just sitting there rolling her eyes the whole time, which it gets even worse as the season goes on, which we will talk about that. So when Daphne comes in with her baby, it just made me smile so much. And Eloise trying to hold the baby killed me because she fully was like, I do not know what to do with this infant.
Didn't she say like everyone was like, oh, like Eloise, come see the baby, and Eloise like, has he changed since the last time I seen him? Didn't she say that?
I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't remember that, but she could have.
Okay, maybe she did, because I have her comment quote, has he changed since I've seen him last?
She's so funny.
Like such a smart ass.
And then Colin holds the baby and is so sweet with it. And then I wrote right after that, Colin is my favorite, I think. Oh, I don't know what it is, because he's definitely not the cutest, but I think he just, I don't know. Anyways, I am such a pollen fan. That's what I'm calling them. Penelope and Colin.
Their ship name.
Yeah, I'm making it now. Their ship name is Pollen. So I love them. Anyways, okay. And then Anthony comes in and he literally is looking for Kate to talk to first. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just like, why are you being stupid about this?
You know what was really telling too? It's a comment in my document, but I don't know when it happens. But when Daphne mistakes Kate for Edwina, like that was very telling to me.
Yes. Wait, I literally have that as a note right after that.
Gosh.
It says, Daphne calling Kate Edwina. I'm dying. See, Daphne sees it. Holy crap.
Yes.
Like right before the croquet game, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was just like, wow, that's like very telling to like see, you know, the chemistry and like they're drawn together that like Daphne can tell.
Okay. I said, Anthony is in such a rush to get married. Ugh, just listen to your mom and take your time. But then right after that, I go so back and forth with Anthony because I'm like, stop being such a hard head. Just like take your time. Like just deal with your emotions and listen to your emotions for one moment.
Yeah.
Because, and also this is really hard because Daphne and Kate got along so well right off the bat. And
I know.
And it just wasn't the same vibe with Edwina in the family. And so that was just really hard.
I'm so happy that like they did that. And you know what? It's probably in the book as well. But I'm happy they did that because it's so very apparent who Anthony should be with.
Yes.
And
so
he
apparent.
denies it the entire freaking season. Mm-hmm. But it's just like so apparent and I love it because it's such a good contrast to like what he's thinking and like what he's denying. I love it.
And I said, Kate likes a competition and Edwina doesn't. Ugh, Kate fits better. Oh, I died when Kate chose Anthony's mallet and Anthony was stuck with the little like miniature thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was dying.
I died when she teased him about it and she was like, he can't perform without his familiar tools. Like,
and his childhood blanket. I was like,
yes. I was like, oh my God. Like, they're so good together. You're telling me that they're not supposed to be together? They're so good together, though.
Come on. And also, everything in the season would have been avoided had Anthony just not gone for Edwina right away. Like,
I know.
Okay, go off, I guess. This whole croquet game, I just loved it so much. Like when Kate shot Anthony's ball into the woods and like, oh my gosh, it was so funny. And Edwina leaves the game because she feels that something is off. And I feel so bad for her because she's so kind, but I'm also like, you feel something's off right away. I know. Why aren't you listening to your gut?
I know, and I felt so bad for her because you could just like immediately tell that that was not her vibe. Like that game was just not it for her. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. And like Anthony was like being very nice about it, being like, hey, like I can go back with you and, you know, we can just go and do whatever. But she was like, no, you finish the game. And I was just like, oh God, that sucks.
Oh, I know. So then the part where they're in the mud. Let me just read you my stream of consciousness quick.
Okay.
I said, OMG, are they going to smooch in the woods? Not the balls in the same spot. Anthony watching her in the mud just killed me. Her getting stuck in the mud. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. They fell in the mud together. I knew it. He he he. They flirty and laughing. And it was just like, oh my gosh.
Mine's literally the same, Theoni.
Yeah,
so.
literally. Oh my gosh. I love that scene. And the fact that they like laugh together when both of them are not laughers.
Yes.
I was just like, okay.
I thought that was so precious. I was like, wow. Like I felt like that was the first genuine interaction between them. And I was like, wow, this is like great, you know?
Yep. So one of the things that I said, I was talking about how Kate was explaining to Anthony that she really just wants her sister to be happy. And I literally wrote, yeah, what's the matter is that Anthony likes you and the game is over because he likes you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's so apparent to us, but not them. But then again, we get another flashback scene of Anthony having to be there when his mom was in labor. And like, he was the only one responsible for anything.
I like sobbed during this like flashback.
Same. And the fact that they were like, choose between your mom and your sibling. Like, are you kidding me?
And what hurts the most though is when she goes like, I didn't write it down, but I think she goes like, this isn't even a choice. If Edmund was here, Edmund would choose me because he loved me. And I was like, oh my God, this is so traumatic. Like,
so traumatic and so
holy
sad.
Crap. Oh, so sad. And you could just see Anthony shut down. You could just see like his mom's words processing in his head and being like, holy crap, I am way over my head right now, you know?
Man, this episode was a lot of everything and I just can't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's this conversation between Anthony and Edwina in the living room or whatever. And that was the first time that I noticed anything natural between them. And I was like, okay, maybe I could see this being like tolerated from both of their ends. I wrote, Anthony is such a liar. He likes Kate. I'm over this BS. Because it's just like, okay, come on now. Which brother was that? I think it was Benedict who took all the drugs. Oh my gosh. He's so funny. Oh my gosh.
I have a huge note about that too. Literally all in caps. Ha ha ha. When Benedict downed the whole powder in his tea, LMAO. And then I do say that, like, I think you've mentioned it before, but like season 2, I feel like a lot of the side characters have their own arcs, and I just loved it. I loved it so much.
Okay, another just random little note. I love that Kate and Eloise get along. Like, I love it. I just love their interactions.
That was so unexpected for me. But then after like kind of seeing like what their plans are and like their thoughts, I was like, oh yeah, that's a given. You know, like of course they get along.
I know.
Yeah.
Because once you see them interact, you're like, oh, that relationship makes complete sense.
Yes. Yeah.
I wrote this, but I don't remember the scene. So maybe you can help me remember. I wrote Daphne again at the dinner table, calling stuff out and noticing Anthony and Kate. Enough already.
I don't know. Does Daphne really call them out? I don't remember. There was a dinner scene, I think, but I'm thinking of a different dinner scene.
Oh, same. Before we think he's going to propose, he makes eye contact with Kate at that dinner table. I'm like, what are you literally doing?
I think that's what was so frustrating for me this season is that like I can see you and I can see what you're thinking, but you are wholeheartedly denying it. Like flat out denying it when literally everyone can see it. And I was just like, really, dude, why do you have to keep doing that? Like it doesn't make sense. But I think in this episode too, we get to understand Anthony's wound more, which again, I think as the season progresses, I understand Anthony more. So it's like, okay,
I think so too.
I guess you have a reason to like act that way. I think in this episode, I don't know what conversation it was, but it was basically him saying that like he doesn't want to be the cause of pain like his father was to his mother. And that's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It's all the trauma.
Exactly.
It's all the trauma. And then the fact that he didn't propose, I was shook. I really thought he was going to propose in that moment.
Oh, God. And you could see Edwina's face drop.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her.
And Edwina crying broke my heart.
Yeah.
And Kate is such a good sister.
I know. I love their like sisterly bond up until a certain episode.
Yep.
When you get there.
Let's not get ahead of it. Okay. I got really excited when Benedict was accepted to the art thing because I was just like, and he was just so happy to tell everyone and everything.
It was so cute. Also, he was so high off his ass at dinner. It was hilarious.
I literally said how funny he was. I said the one brother being high is killing me. Yes. I didn't figure out his name was Benedict until this episode.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. There's a lot a lot of So.
Oh my gosh, so many. Then Kate gets stung by the bee and Anthony is there and he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's like, what? And then she puts her hand like on her chest and like all these things. And I was like, the look on his face broke me.
Me too.
Like he deserves an Oscar for that performance because holy crap.
He is such a good actor. Like I was just in awe of like all of his acting throughout this entire season. But I agree. That scene was so heartbreaking for me because you could see all the trauma come back up.
Yes, everything came back. It was almost like he was looking at his dad.
I know. Oh my God.
It was so hard. But I think that's pretty much where the episode ends. I could be wrong. But then I thought they were gonna smooch, but then they didn't, and then the horse interrupted them, and then it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the episode.
All right, moving on to episode 4. This one is called Victory. So I will start off with the synopsis. Guests begin arriving at Aubrey Hall for the Bridgerton ball. Unaware of their mutual attraction, Edwina encourages Kate to spend time with Anthony, thinking Kate's disapproval keeps him from proposing. Kate goes on a hunt with the men, where she and Anthony share another physical moment. Colin visits Marina, now Lady Crane, and meets her new husband. Daphne tries to get to know Edwina, but is unconvinced that she is a good match for Anthony. Portia, who is Lady Featherington, arranges for Jack and Prudence to be caught alone to force them into a marriage, but Jack reveals that he is secretly penniless and had been planning to marry Cressida for her fortune. Daphne catches Anthony and Kate in a compromising position in the library and urges Anthony to be honest with his feelings. As the Sharmas prepare to depart for London, Anthony proposes to Edwina, and she says yes. This episode crazy.
It might be one of my favorites out of all of them, just because of how much happened and everything just gets like blown up.
Yes, no, literally everything just gets 10 times worse. And you're like, holy crap. To start off, I love that Penelope is working with the modiste now. So like Madame Delacroix.
Yes.
I love that because I didn't see it coming, but I was like, wait, that is so smart. You know?
It makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. And then also, too, I think in this season, the Lady Whistledown storyline was so good, and there were so many stakes, and like there was like so much tension. I was just like in awe of like how much they really like stepped their game up from like season 1 to season 2, especially now that we all know that Penelope is like Lady Whistledown.
Yep. I loved it too. And it was so interesting to see how it all works. Like, again, I think I said that in the first episode, but like, wow. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Okay, there's just like this random quote or like a note. I think it's when Kate and Edwina are like talking in the bedroom, and Kate says like, oh, I can see how he can engage someone. Me too, girl. I can see that too, because they're talking about Anthony or something. Like,
I'm engaged.
Like, me too. I'm like, I know. Moving on to the hunting scene. I think it was so funny when Edwina was like, oh yeah, like Kate is a great shot. And then Anthony goes, of course she is. Like, like, you know it too, Anthony.
Literally,
you know it.
Oh my gosh. It's just like one thing after another. It's like he's trying so hard to not think about it. And then she does all these things that are just like the most attractive thing to him ever.
Oh, 100%.
He cannot handle himself.
Yes.
I love it.
Another random note, in this hunting scene, Kate is so incredibly smart, and I feel like it just like makes her all the more attractive because she points out like there are tracks in the clover, and she makes it a big deal. She's like, well, like the tracks are here, like why can't we follow it? I was like, yeah, Anthony, why can't we follow it? Listen to the girl. Like, she knows what she's doing. Oh my God,
I know what you're gonna say. I'm gonna this might have been one of my favorite moments. I'm not joking.
I screamed. Okay, wait. Is it the one where like they're arguing in the woods, and she steps over the log and she brings up her dress and she's
no.
Okay, so I know what you're talking about. But she steps over the log and she brings up her dress that you can see her entire leg and her like stockings, and like Anthony's just like standing there being like, oh my God, did I just see that? And I was like, yeah, Kate, you are a tease and you know what you're doing. I love it. But then the next thing is when he shows her how to hold the gun. And it was just like, oh my God, like all of these little touches in season 2 were killing me. They were so crazy.
How did they have that effect on me? Okay, but here's the thing. It's not the fact that he was like showing her the gun. It was the fact that she was like, no, I can do it. And he was like, no, let me show you. And just like made her do it.
Yes.
And I was like, holy crap. I literally love that moment so much.
I just like all the more reason to like get them close. I was like, yay. Okay, so now I am on my soapbox about Colin. So I don't like Colin. At the end of season 2, I have determined that I do not like him. I think he was just pissing me off
Okay, well, here's the thing. Let's just give him a little time to mature.
No, he should not be doing the things that he's doing with how young he is. Like, it's very clear that he doesn't know what he's doing, so he should just sit down. Like, don't do anything, dude, because it's very clear that you don't have the capability to take on this much responsibility. And I think that's what was frustrating to me.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It just like it kept building up throughout season 2, and by the last episode, I was like, "You're done. You're done."
But here's the thing.
Okay.
I like him because I see the potential.
Okay.
I think if they keep doing the seasons, and whenever it comes time to be his season, I think we're gonna get such good character development in the future. I think you're gonna end up liking him. Mark my words, Selena.
Okay, I think so too, but right now I do not like him. I think he's very, very good to look at.
But he had some good moments, which I'll talk about later. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but he had good moments.
Okay, but in my eyes, his good moments did not outweigh his bad ones.
Okay, well, honestly, though, I will say in the last episode.
Yes!
But
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, but we're not going to say that yet.
Okay. Anyways, back to Colin. Yep. So I think he gets a pretty bad wake-up call when he goes visits Marina. I love that we did go back to visit Marina and like where she is. Yeah, but I also love that like she like mentioned Penelope, and I feel like Marina gave Colin that kick in the ass that he needed. Marina really did open his eyes, because I think when he went to go see Lady Crane, he was hoping for like something else, like is there like any
something
possibility?
Yeah,
like a hope. But I was just like, it was very, very abrupt for him, and I'm very happy that we did get to see that wake-up call for him, you know?
Yeah, me too, because I think he takes Penelope for granted a lot.
Oh, 100%.
So much. And I think someone needed to tell him, like, Penelope cares about you.
Yes.
So how about you don't treat her like crap?
No, anyways. I agree 100%. As episode 4 kept going, like the tension just kept getting worse and worse, and at this point I was like, something is about to explode between all of them, and I am very stressed. Like I was just like waiting,
like you feel it coming.
Yes, I was just like waiting for it to happen, like oh my god, is it now, or is it the next scene or whatever, you know? Very on edge. Again, the soundtrack is freaking amazing. Dancing on My Own.
Yes!
Played. I screamed because I was like, this is beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I literally need to go on Spotify and add it because I actually enjoy it.
Me
like,
too.
I really like it.
And then I don't remember what this dance was specifically, but like, I do remember one part where there was like a hand on the heart that they had to do during the dance. And I was like, they did that on purpose, because in the last episode, it was like the whole thing with the bee too. I was like, they're just teasing us. They keep teasing us.
They're teasing us. Rude.
Also, just like a general question that I was kind of confused about in this season. How can Kate be alone with the Viscount when cousin Jack couldn't be alone with Prudence and like the orange tree thingy? Is it like the title? Because I'm trying to think of last season, because the Duke was alone with Daphne in a room, but like, why is it so scandalous that like cousin Jack and Prudence had to get married? You know?
I genuinely don't know, because I was confused about that as well.
Okay.
I really don't understand.
Is it maybe because like cousin Jack and Prudence were like in front of a crowd, maybe? Because like, you know, there were like a bunch of different like family households there. But yeah, no, I found that so weird too. I was like, what's the difference? Like, where's the line? But
yeah,
going into the like office / library where
I'm sorry, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm trying to compose myself, but I literally can't. Holy freak.
Yeah. Okay. So it's where I think Kate goes in first, and then no, Anthony goes in first, and then Kate follows him in. I don't know what they were arguing about. It doesn't matter though, because what matters is what comes next. I don't remember the dialogue specifically, but it was basically like, I think it was Anthony saying like, what do I do to you? Kind of like in a menacing tone, but also like I know what I do to you. I know like the looks that we share.
I want you to tell me.
Yes. Also, when they were like leaning in and saying all of those things, like, I'm a gentleman and you're a lady and your heart is with my sister, I died because I think that's definitely a kink between them. Oh, like I know where my position is, but I want you so much that I'm like ready to compromise that.
Oh yeah, they like the mystery of it, or like the forbiddenness of it.
Yes. I also marked a time mark. So time mark like 44 minutes and 33 seconds. I had to pause because I was so angry that they always get interrupted with all of their stuff. It happened one more time earlier in this episode too. Every single time something was going to happen, interrupted. Even in episode 3, after the bee and they were leaning in, the horse like came through or whatever, and they like darted off their own. I was like, really? We need to be interrupted every single friggin' time.
I know, it's so annoying.
I will say though, this position that they were in was very, very compromising when Daphne walked in though, because they were like this close to kissing. I screamed
out loud.
Me too.
I was like, shut up.
Me too. Moving on to the conversation with Daphne and Anthony, I loved that Daphne brought up the whole garden thing with Simon in comparison to Anthony and Kate, because it's literally the same thing. And he was such an ass to her when it happened in season 1. And I was like, that's just karma, Anthony. That's just karma.
It
okay?
is. And I like that Daphne brought it up to be like, I've been there. I get it. But like, get your crap together, dude. Like, come on.
Like, you can't be doing this stuff, you know?
I know.
Oh my God. And then still in the conversation with Daphne and Anthony, I died when I don't know what Daphne said, but then Anthony shouts like, because she's aggravating. Like, dude, y'all have the same energy, okay? Like, it was just so funny because he was so angry and pissed.
He was so mad.
Yes. I think at the end of like their conversation, he says, I know what I must do. The second that he said that, I knew he would do the opposite, which is so dumb. And I feel like these men in Bridgerton are just so dumb when it comes to love and just actions. And I'm just like, you know what? If you allowed yourself to feel your feelings, maybe we wouldn't be here. You know?
What if you just thought to yourself, oh, I like someone, I'll go for that person.
Yeah, literally.
Yep.
Anyways, another thing that I want to talk about as well. So at this point, we're 4 episodes in. And I feel like for this season in particular, Bridgerton uses a lot of side characters to act as catalysts for the main characters to take action, which is fine, but they do it so much that I'm very annoyed with it. Like, I want to see Anthony act on his own. I want to see Kate act on her own. But it's a lot of like, Anthony does something, then talks to Daphne or his mom. Anthony does something and then talks to like Daphne again or whatever. Or Kate does something and then talks to Edwina or Lady Danbury, you know? I was just annoyed with it because I was just like, I understand they need direction, but I'm also just like, act on your own, please.
I get that. And I agree. It was a lot of that. Yeah. But I also think it makes sense for their characters because they're both so like by the book, do things responsibly for the family. Like they have to do everything right for everyone else. That now that there's something for themselves, they almost like don't know how to function with that. Okay, you know what I mean? So they don't know how to act on their own.
You are so right. You're literally so right now that you put it that way. Also, I forgot to mention in episode 1, I had a note that I think Anthony is an Enneagram 1 and a Virgo. Like he cannot chill.
Interesting.
I think he's just so uptight.
Are you saying you're uptight?
Yeah.
I'm not literally at all.
I'm not a Virgo though, okay?
Yeah. I don't know what a Virgo means.
From what I've heard, like Virgos are very, very like organized and stuff. So I'm a rising Virgo. So I project off that like I'm very organized and put together. Whereas my like sun, my core, I think is like Scorpio.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So gotcha. I think Anthony just needs to chill.
Sure. Yeah. He for sure does.
I also want to mention that like at this point too with the Featheringtons, so much has already gone wrong. Like literally they are just hanging by a thread. Holy crap. This could not get worse. But I will say that their storyline this season is top tier compared to season 1.
So good.
So freaking good.
But that's what I mean. I feel like this is part of the reason why I like season 2 better. Because while I love season 1 so much and like the romance there between Daphne and the Duke, like I love that. But this season, we get the enemies to lovers in the best way, but we also get all of this side stuff. And I really feel like I was fully invested in all of the characters.
Oh yeah, like I had a better grasp at like them and their problems and their like desires and stuff. It just made the story and the characters like a lot more engaging.
And I think it really sets up for like the next seasons that they release. Like I think there's so much to go off of now.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a look that Lady Danbury gave to Kate when Edwina said that like Anthony's feelings may be elsewhere. And I was like, oh yeah, Lady Danbury 100% knows what's happening. What's up. Yeah.
Everyone can see it.
Exactly. Except Edwina, okay?
Which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. And then the episode ends with Anthony running out of the house being like, Edwina, wait, will you marry me? And she says yes. And that's literally how the episode ends.
I was so mad.
Me too. You know what's sad too? Anthony came running down and he said, wait, and then, wait, I need to talk to you. And Kate was like, oh, sure. And Anthony's like, I wasn't talking to you, Edwina. And I was like, oh, that's sad.
That was really hard.
Yes, it was very, very hard. Like, I was just like, wow. Anyways, that is episode 4.
Episode 5. Okay, in this episode, I have a timestamp that I'm literally going to play out loud.
Okay, cool.
So the synopsis. The episode begins with flashbacks of some spicy Anthony and Kate moments, as well as the Queen agreeing to host the wedding. Then Edwina goes wedding dress shopping, and we get a look into Madame Delacroix and Penelope's working relationship. Lady Danbury also reminds Kate that now they're betrothed, Kate can't do anything about the situation. After that, Eloise goes to a lecture about women's rights and freedom and meets Theo. Well, meets Theo. Yeah. But like they officially like become friends. Then Anthony follows. Okay. Then Anthony falls in the water and he looks hot, so it's important. Further, I don't know why I wrote that. Further, Benedict meets a painter who is also the naked model. Which, okay, I hated that storyline. But anyways, Anthony's mom then speaks with Anthony about setting an example for his siblings by marrying for something other than love. We also get a glimpse into the Sharma's family drama. Then everything blows up. Then, Kate and Anthony confess their affection for each other. Edwina and Kate also have a heart-to-heart about what Edwina feels and deserves now that she's a woman. The episode ends with Kate begging him to marry Edwina.
Yeah, this one was packed. Like, holy crap. Okay. I'm telling you, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
My heart rate was so high.
Same. I
could not handle it. Literally, in the way this episode begins, I literally wrote in all caps, why are pinkies so sexy all of a sudden? I literally am barely breathing. They literally go like this and...
It's the hand flex. You can see his his finger move just a little bit. I was like... Oh my god.
Why does that affect us?
Yeah, it's insane.
I gotta say, I love Anthony in that copper tub. Just gonna say it.
Yeah, he looks good.
I love that Benedict shows up to the art school and just looks genuinely so happy to be there. But I did not love the whole relationship with the model and the painter. I just felt like it was kind of immature and just like so much of what he has done before that I want something different for his like romance.
That's why I wasn't surprised about his storyline this season, because I feel like it's so normal for him. So I was okay with it. Knowing that this season isn't focused on him, I was just like, oh, that's very Benedict. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he's just gonna do this thing. And I was fine with it. Plus, I was just like really happy that he was happy. Like, he genuinely looked really, really happy there.
He did.
Yeah.
The next scene, when Kate goes in and he's like looking at the wedding ring and trying to get it resized. And then
he puts it on her.
He puts it on her finger. And the way he like rubs her finger like that, I was like, what is going on?
I knew it. The second that he walked in with that jeweler, I was like, they're going to put the ring on her finger. It's on her finger. Like,
and then it gets freaking stuck. Yeah. I was like, okay, I saw this coming. Yes. I can't handle it.
Like, it was so awkward when Edwina came in and she's like, oh yeah, like, here's the ring. And they're like, oh, the ring's stuck. Oh, here you go, Edwina. Like, I was like,
It's literally painful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is where this happens, so correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But I think this is when Lady Danbury sees Kate on the balcony, and Lady Danbury really talks to Kate, like in very vague terms, but just about like the fact that Kate really cannot do anything about the situation now, and talking about how it would become a scandal and all of these things. And just, I think Kate really knows that at this point she messes up, and she's like, I don't know how much I should tell Edwina. I really got myself in this mess, and I have no idea what the right thing is to do at this point.
I think you're right that does come after, because I do remember that, and just like seeing Kate feeling so lost, like I felt really bad for her.
Me too, and it's very unlike her to be lost.
Yes, exactly.
So I feel like that was a huge moment for her. Kate ends up talking to that one guy who ends up being Anthony's friend, which
Mr. Dorset.
Yes, Mr. Dorset. And Anthony was so jealous, like fuming jealousy. Like, I could not handle it.
It was like the slow-mo of like him looking at her. I was like, oh, dude, you have it bad. You have it bad. And you know what was worse too is that Lady Bridgerton noticed. Mm-hmm. She could see that he wasn't in tune with the conversation that she was having with Edwina about their freaking wedding. And that was like, I think, the first hint for Lady Bridgerton of like, oh.
When she was like, oh.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. That's so important. You're so right. When Anthony shoves the guy out of the way to help her out of the boat, and then all of a sudden they fall in the water.
Yeah.
And he's so angry. And the way he gets out with like pulling his tie off, I was like, ah!
Yes. Literally, it's just something about him angrily taking off his clothes like just hits different. You know?
It does. I don't know what it is. It just really, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I made a note that said the fact the mother is plotting to get Edwina to call off the engagement. What mother was that? Because I remember there was a conversation, it would be a scandal if he ended the engagement or something happened, but if you called it off, it wouldn't be as big of a deal.
Yes, because I think it was after she realized how he looked at Kate and he wasn't in tune, and I think she called him out saying that if you call it off, she'll be ruined, but we don't want to do that because Edwina is really, really nice, so now we need to convince Edwina to call it off herself, and then it will salvage both of their images. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. Okay. Then the Sheffields come to dinner. This scene is insane. I felt so bad for Mama Sharma. You could tell her parents were just absolutely awful to her. Oh my God, yeah. Never stood behind her, never supported her decisions, like nothing. And I just felt so bad for her, and I hated them eventually. But then I did really like how Anthony stood up for them. I loved it.
I was like, now that's attractive, okay, Anthony? Yep.
That's what we need to see from you, standing up for what's right.
That's what makes you the Viscount. Anything else you've been doing doesn't, but this does make you the Viscount.
Literally. Okay,
I have a question though.
Yes.
Did Kate and Edwina's mom not know about the contingency about Edwina's marriage? Was it just Kate who knew?
I think it was, and I had thought previous to that moment that the mom was in on it too.
Me too.
But I guess she was not.
I know,
which I was very surprised.
I know, that's why her mom like storms out of the room really angry too, and I was like, wait, I thought you knew of the plan too, but I think it was just Kate. So I was kind of confused there.
At this point, after everything blows up, Kate and Anthony find themselves together again. This part made me lose my mind.
Me too.
Lose my mind.
Me too.
The things that he says, oh. Okay, let's just listen to this, okay?
Okay.
Tell me if you can hear this.
My every objection might I add, and now you intend to cast her aside. Why? And do not talk to me of dowry, sir, for we both know you have no need of it. So tell me, what has she done?
She has done nothing. It is you. You have made this match impossible.
But I am leaving for India.
And it is not far enough. Do you think that there is a corner of this earth that you could travel to far away enough to free me from this torment? I am a gentleman. My father raised me to act with honor, but that honor is hanging by a thread that grows more precarious with every moment I spend in your presence. You are the bane of my existence. And the object of all my desires. Night and day, I dream of you. And when do you even know all the ways a lady can be seduced? Things I could teach you.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there, even though it keeps going a little bit. I lost my mind.
That's literally the hottest thing he could have said. Like, the most attractive thing. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you are driven so insane by her that India is not even the farthest that she can go to, like, rid you of it, like in his mind or whatever, you know? Like, oh my gosh.
And the way he said the things I could teach. Or the things I could.
Yeah. My favorite quote is that, like, you're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires. Like, I was like, dude, holy shit. Literally my favorite scene. Scene.
It's so, the tension.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I literally wrote a note about how they literally, because they refuse to smooch, but they're just sitting there breathing so close to each other. I'm like, Okay, Kate talks to Edwina again, and Edwina says that she loves him. And I think that is when Kate was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because that's not just like an arrangement. That is like Edwina loves him. Although I think that Edwina doesn't truly love him because she doesn't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
But I think she fully believed that she did love him.
This moment just made me really sad because I was like, wow. Like, I don't think Kate or anyone else knew how much Edwina was so in love with Anthony until she actually said it. And I think that's when everything came to realization for Kate. And she was like, this needs to stop. You know?
Yep. I made a note here randomly that Eloise and Theo have really good back and forth, but because they just do, but I just love them. They're so cute.
Yes.
Then there's this montage towards the end of the episode, and all of a sudden Benedict is like fully naked with the model girl. Just like, I was like, where did that come from? Like, I thought that was so random and unnecessary. I was like, what is happening right now? Anthony and Kate see each other out riding. And Anthony is like, I'll end it with Edwina. I'll do it. I will do it. And then he's like, it'll be as if we never met. And then Kate was like begging him to marry her because that's what has to happen. And I was literally crying because Anthony would do anything with Kate. The only reason that Anthony went through with it was because Kate told him to.
I remember like screaming at the TV during the scene because there's this really long pause after Kate begs for Anthony to marry Edwina, and there's this long pause, and we're on Anthony's face. And I thought for a second that he was going to just kiss her, that he was just going to like break down and finally kiss her. But then that's when he was like, okay, fine, like I'll marry Edwina and we'll never talk about this again or whatever. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
I know. I was so mad
Me
because
too.
I thought they were going to kiss too.
Me too.
And they didn't. So anyways, but that is the end of the episode.
All right, moving on to episode 6. This one is called The Choice.
Ooh.
And here's a synopsis. Preparations are underway for Anthony and Edwina's wedding. Edwina feels that Anthony does not love her. Daphne tries to steer Anthony into calling it off to no avail. Kate offers her own mother's bracelets for Edwina to wear, but her sister tells her to wear them instead. At the wedding, Kate and Anthony cannot help but stare at each other. When Kate drops her bracelet, Anthony rushes to help her. Edwina realizes there's more to their relationship and runs away from the altar. A furious Queen Charlotte has the guests stay in the garden as Edwina composes herself. Kate tries to explain herself to Edwina, and Anthony confirms he's intent on the marriage. Edwina eventually decides that she cannot marry him. Kate and Anthony are left alone in the church and kiss. And then in the chaos, Lady Danbury and Violet reconcile. Violet is Lady Bridgerton. And then Jack makes potential business connections, and Eloise takes the opportunity to visit Theo again. This episode was wild.
Wild, like, dude. It's crazy.
I thought episode 4 and 5 were like crazy. This was even more crazy. I was like, this is so dramatic. There's so much shit happening. Like, I was like, ah.
But this is what we mean by, like, it just gets more and more and more, and you don't know how much more can happen, but then all of a sudden.
Yeah. I'm sad that Simon, aka Duke of Hastings, was not in season 2. Because I am convinced he would have whipped Anthony into shape. He would have just given him so much shit. And I was like, that's what Anthony needs. Like, unfortunately, he has all these women telling him what to do. And knowing Anthony, he's not going to freaking listen to them. So I'm like, okay, what does he need? He needs a man to tell him to do these things. And I feel like the Duke of Hastings would have been absolutely perfect. But I also feel like it might have been a little too easy, you know? In a way.
Yeah, I think so too. And I actually really like that it was Daphne like sharing that.
Yeah. Anthony and Daphne's conversation in the room. I don't remember. I think this is before the wedding, and Daphne's kind of, you know, trying to talk him out of
like
it.
Like a last ditch effort.
Yeah. And one thing that like really put like a dagger in my heart is when she says, all these decisions you make don't make us respect you. It makes us pity you. And I was like, holy crap, that is Anthony's biggest fear. And Daphne just confirmed it. And I just felt so bad. But I was also like, wow, Daphne is kind of right, though. Like, and it was just like a wake up call for Anthony. And again, I felt bad, but I was like,
I think he needed to hear it.
Agree. Edwina and Kate are getting ready, and Kate gives her the bracelets to wear, and it's like her mother's bracelets, which is like so adorable. And then Edwina goes, oh, I can't wear the bracelets because I don't want to feel like I'm taking what is rightfully yours. And I was like, ooh, is that a parallel to Anthony? Like, oh my God.
It was a parallel to Anthony, but she didn't know that it was.
Oh, no, she didn't. Yeah. I was like, okay, let's dive into this freaking wedding.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, Sign of the Times playing. I passed away.
I was like, what a song. Because that song is like a sign of the ending, you know? And it's like, holy crap. I know. Perfect choice.
Literally. I screamed when I saw that and I heard that was playing. Anthony's face when Kate walked out, like, I thought that was the bride. I thought that was the bride.
Did
yes.
Nope, it was just Kate.
I know.
Because it's just like that should have been them.
Yeah, exactly. Which then goes into my next comment, because then Anthony has all of these visions of the church cleared out and it's just him and Kate, and she's in a wedding dress and they're getting married. And I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? Like, Daphne literally just told you to call it off. Like, I was so frustrated.
What else do you need at this point?
Exactly. Like, you are having your own doubts, you know?
Literally. And even if you end up not with Kate, why are you going to do that?
Exactly. Timestamp, 21 minutes in, 54 seconds. I said, I effing paused because I couldn't handle. She was fidgeting with her bracelet and it fell off. And of course he goes out to put it on her like the dude that he is. And then I said, at this point, I'm annoyed because he did this to himself. Kind of going back to the idea of like his vision, you know, of like seeing him marrying her.
And in that moment, you could read it all over Edwina's face.
Oh, yeah.
The wheels were turning.
Yeah.
And she figured it all out.
Yes. I was like, I can't believe she just figured it out from that small movement, but I'm also surprised that it took her this long to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
So, I mean,
Well, she even said that. She was like, or what did she say? I forget the quote she said, but she's like, am I the only one who didn't see this?
Yes, I think that's in episode 7. But yeah, she does say that.
My bad.
No,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. So then Edwina needs a moment and she rushes out of that church. Next scene, Edwina's acting was freaking amazing in this confrontation scene. I was in awe of her. I could feel that anger. I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
You know?
Because her whole world just crashed around her and you could feel it. Like it was visceral. Yeah.
Yes. I was just so in awe of her performance. And then literally just a random note in the middle of this like confrontation scene, I say, Eloise is so in love with Theo. Ha ha ha. It's adorable. It's in the middle of all my caps. Just this like random one-line comments. Like, what the heck?
I love it though.
Anthony comes in to talk to Edwina, and this conversation does not go well. Basically, she says, I still wonder whether it is the marriage or me that you truly want. And I was like, frick yes, Edwina,
girl,
because he's been treating her like a business deal, and I'm so happy that Edwina finally called it out and she could finally see it as well, you know?
Yes, 100%. And I'm really proud of her for standing up for herself too.
And then it gets worse. Edwina goes, Anthony says something, and then Edwina goes, because you love me? And he goes, I understand you. Anthony, baby, that was not the right answer. Like, that was not the right answer.
But also, maybe he just didn't want to lie anymore. You
Good
know
point.
what I mean? Like,
Good
I
point.
think he was like, I cannot, after everything that's just happened, I can't tell you I love you when I don't.
Yes, I totally agree. But then, you know what? I felt bad because we all knew what Edwina wanted from the start. She wanted true love. And it's like Anthony kind of knew that especially especially because Kate told Anthony multiple times where it's like, you are not courting her, like you will never ever court her. I just felt really, really bad. When Kate walked out of the closet, I knew he would be right there, and of course he was right there. And
I knew it too.
He follows her into the closet. I don't know what they do, but my comment is, stop it with these touches, like all these like little touches that they do.
I know,
you know.
And like when he stopped her from going out the door, I was like,
yes. And then he said wait, and there was like a pause, and then Kate was like no, and leaves. I was like, oh my gosh.
I love that scene so much. She's like, get out of this. This is my place of refuge. And he's like, it's literally my house. But okay, let's chat. Anyways, okay.
Next scene, I think, is Edwina and Kate in the room. I think there's like another confrontation scene. I don't remember what Kate's speech was, but I said that it was beautiful and heartbreaking. But that I do agree with Edwina saying that, like, you know, she's a grown woman. She can make her decisions. And if she decides to marry Anthony today, it will please her and only her. It will not benefit anyone else. And I was like, yes, girl.
Yes,
you go, girl. Like, oh my gosh.
I definitely felt for Edwina throughout the whole episode because I understand her anger, but I also am like such a Kate stan that I'm like, I understand her perspective. And like, she... it's like hard. It's like, can you really fault her? Like, she really was doing what she thought. You know what I mean? And
I know.
So, but I did feel bad for Edwina, and I was really happy that she, again, like I said earlier, stood up for herself and like was like finally. But I also feel like she, not that all of this needed to happen, but I feel like Edwina needed something to finally find her like voice and her confidence in like making her own decisions.
Not saying that like she wasn't confident before, but it was definitely like, I could definitely tell she was like on puppet strings.
Yep.
And like this episode, it just like finally snapped. And she was 100%. Like, I'm done, you know?
Yep.
Okay. All in caps, I say, what is happening between Cousin Jack and Lady Featherington? Ha ha ha, I'm so confused and weirded out. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Why did that have to be a part of the plot? That was so gross and made no sense. I was like, what is going on?
It's so weird. It's so
horrible.
Weird. I was like, I guess? Like, I
know.
Oh, okay. Ugh. Anyways, I said that I was happy that Colin and Penelope had their moment outside. I think he kind of like mentions like Marina and like saying how Marina was right and how Pen is like so reliable and such a great friend, yada, yada, yada. I was like, finally, like you can see Penelope for what she is, but also going back to my point that I said before, like these Bridgerton men are so frustrating. Even though they are very attractive, they're also very, very frustrating. If your head wasn't so far up your ass, Colin, you would have seen it. Like, Penelope has been there this entire time, literally. Okay? Anyways. But I was happy that he finally like got to that point and then acknowledged Penelope, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think it's when Edwina meets Anthony and Kate in the chapel in the church, and it's just the two of them. And she basically says, we're not getting married today, you know? And Edwina says, you will never meet my eyes in the same manner that you met my sisters on the altar today. I gasped so loud. I was like, oh you are getting, you two, both of you are getting called out right now. Yes. I was like, you know what? Good for you, Edwina, for calling them out.
Good for her. She needed to say something. Yeah. And she did that so perfectly, I thought.
Yeah. And you know what? At this point, Kate and Anthony deserve it because they've been pretty freaking shitty, you know?
Yep. They could have just said, like, really, if people, I don't know, communicated.
Yes.
All this could have been avoided.
Exactly. We quickly jump to Eloise and Theo. They're so cute. And I say, Eloise is so awkward when she was asking Theo if like he had thoughts of her too. And like, and
I loved it.
I know, me too. And then he like went inside and then he brought the books out and he's like, I've read these books and like, I thought that you would like them and stuff. And I was like, that's so cute.
I feel like I'm getting the vibe that you're a huge Theo and Eloise
Yes. The same way that you are with Colin and Penelope. Eloise and Theo, I will die for. Let's go back to the church with Kate and Anthony because the end of this episode is insane. They're standing in the church after Edwina left and they don't move. And Kate says that she wants to suspend time and she doesn't want to worry about what comes next and she doesn't want to go outside, you know, and face all these consequences that they're, you know, obviously going to face. She kind of references what Anthony asked her in the closet and she says like she wishes just to wait. I had to pause because I gasped so hard that I choked on my dinner. When I watched this because I was like, no, you did not just say you wanted to suspend time. I was losing my crap
because that's like one of the most like vulnerable or like outright things she's ever said. Yes. And I was like, oh, you want this. You want this.
And then after 6 freaking episodes, they finally kiss and it was glorious. Like you could see the tension of them like coming together and like kissing and like I was like, this is amazing.
The slowest burn of my life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but it was so good. Oh,
yeah, and that's the end of episode 6.
What a good one. Okay, episode 7. So I watched this one earlier today, actually. I remember this being one of the ones that I didn't love as much, but I still liked it.
Oh, okay.
My synopsis is really long. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
The episode starts out with the Queen having it with Lady Whistledown. Then the Bridgertons discuss the implications of everything that has happened. Eloise then has plans to meet Theo, but is quickly stopped by the Queen arriving at the home. Then the Queen thinks it's Eloise that is Lady Whistledown. Then the Sharmas and the Bridgertons sit down to strategize about losing their position and status. Next, Penelope and Eloise fight about what Eloise should do to handle the situation with the Queen. Penelope has to weigh her options about what to do, as does Anthony. Then a party is held to prove to the public that the Sharmas and Bridgertons are fine. But then Theo and Eloise have a realistic talk about what their statuses mean for their relationship. Next, Anthony tries to talk to Kate about the kiss at the party, but Kate denies it, that it happened. Next, Colin and Penelope discuss Colin's future plans. Anthony then proves that they can still find joy despite all the bad things that have occurred, in the ballroom. Then Lady Whistledown's publication screws over multiple Bridgertons. This leads to Penelope putting an end to the publication for good. Then I said, well then, they had sex finally because they decided they must do something for themselves. Kate immediately feels great and regretful of that. Then Anthony looks at his engagement ring. This leads Kate to ride away, but runs into trouble on her horse when it's raining outside. So I love that it starts out with Kate and Anthony both like dreaming about the kiss. You know, I was like, holy crap. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know it was like a pretty short like scene, but the bathtub scene where all of the Sharmas were in the bathtubs and like you could just feel like the heaviness and the sadness, and Edwina could not bear to be there.
No, she couldn't even look Kate in the eye. Like
right?
It was that bad.
Which complete 180 from their relationship. Like, it's crazy. It's interesting because one of my notes here, I say I can't stop thinking about it if Edwina is going to give her blessing, which we'll talk about that later. You know that part in the park where they're walking around trying to like say hi to everyone or act normal or whatever? Them standing in the park was so painfully awkward because they were just staring at each other from across the way, and I was like, you guys, stop staring at each other.
Stop. You guys are making it so obvious. You need to chill.
Okay, but then we have to talk about the Queen and Eloise in the carriage, because the Queen fully believes Eloise is Lady Whistledown, and I understand that the Queen wouldn't even listen when she denies it, but I'm like, it's literally not her. Like, are you kidding me? You're putting Eloise in the middle of this.
This was like really scary for me because, again, I like love Eloise. I felt like scared for her because I was like, wow, like this is it, you know? And unfortunately, there's not enough evidence to show the Queen that like it's not Eloise. And even if there was evidence, I don't think the Queen would have even believed her in that moment. I was like, holy crap, like things are not going well.
So then it's a scene where the Bridgertons and the Sharmas are like in the little room, like talking about everything. And then the dog, and they both go down to the dog and they're staring at each other. And Edwina is like, was I truly that blind?
Yeah.
I was dying.
I think it was like Newton came running in and then they did something and then they like stood back up and they were super close to each other and stuff. And I was like, you guys, really?
I know. I might contain yourselves.
I was like, this is dumb.
On.
Okay, wait. Also, question. I'm confused like why they couldn't just marry. Like, would that look worse? Because they're talking about this plan in that room.
Who, Edwina and... Or no. Kate and Anthony.
Yeah, so like...
Well, I was wondering that from the beginning of the show. I was like, but there's that connection. So what is the difference between Edwina marrying and Kate marrying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I know the whole thing with the Sheffields, but...
Yeah, so I was just like, this is weird. Like, why are we talking about a plan when, like, Kate and Anthony could just get married? I don't know. Anyways.
I know. But then before they hold this ball, or this supposed ball, they all are like, you guys cannot look at each other, stay away from each other, whatever. Yeah. And I'm thinking in my head, that's just going to make it so much worse. Like, telling someone not to do something like that is just going to make them want to do it more. Then I wrote a note that said, Penelope is in deep crap. She has to save Eloise and herself and Madame Delacroix. It's just like she now is trying to plot how to save everybody, and no option is good enough. Yeah, because she's gonna hurt someone no matter what she does.
Again, I felt the same way with like Eloise and the Queen. I felt like the same weight and tension for Penelope because I was like, there are no good options, and I just feel for her so much.
Yep, 100%. And I also am like, okay, Penelope got herself into this position, but I also have a lot of empathy for Penelope and everything she does.
Yes, I agree too.
I also loved Benedict in this moment talking to Anthony because he was telling Anthony, like, do not punish yourself. Like, do not do this. And like finally giving like Anthony a pep talk. And I know it wasn't a big moment, but I really like that we got to see the sibling relationships more on like both sides of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. I saw someone on TikTok earlier making one about this, and she's like, I don't know why I'm hyper fixated on the scene. But when Kate walks into the ball or whatever, and Anthony like gives her this look where he like inhales and then he like looks away, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, dude, contain yourself. Yes. Like, what are you doing?
Yes, that was at the art gallery because they decided to go to the art gallery together. She walks off and he like literally, it's so obvious. He like inhales and he like looks away. And Lady Danbury is like, are you effing kidding me right now?
Literally,
I just like told you.
Literally. Oh my gosh. Okay. You know the Gentleman's Club owner?
Yeah. His name is Will Mondrich.
Yes. Okay. I kind of forgot his storyline in season 1, to be honest. But I was just confused about him and Lord Featherington's beef. Like, I knew that Will didn't like him because Lord Featherington is like a scammer. But like, did they have beef outside of that, or was that it?
No, so they both knew each other's secret. So Will knew that that cousin Jack was lying about the rubies and the mines in America, while cousin Jack knew that Will opened the Gentleman's Club with dirty money because he threw that match in season 1.
Yes.
So they like both knew each other's like secrets, and I think that's why they like did not like each other.
Okay, that makes more sense. I don't know why, but I was so confused by that.
Yeah.
Then there's a scene with Eloise and Theo. Theo's like, you don't even understand what it's like, and blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I was so angry. I was like, Theo, Eloise doesn't even want her privilege. Like, why are you doing this? You don't know her life.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better about that later. But alas, I was very mad in that situation.
I was like, where's this coming from, Theo? Are you kidding me? You're breaking my heart.
After everything, I know. It's so sad. There's the whole part where Kate is like, no, we can't talk about this. Like, no, it didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girlfriend, it did happen. Like, it fully happened. I think it was at the ball when Colin is basically talking to Penelope and, you know, just very makes it seem like I appreciate you and I care about you and all of these things, but like, it'll never be more than friends. Or like, he doesn't say that explicitly, but he basically hints at that. And I know there's another moment when he said, oh, you're a great friend. Or like, there's a lot of those moments throughout where I'm like, really, dude?
I don't remember what episode it is, but I do remember him saying like, you're a great friend, Pen, or whatever, like, or something like that. And I was just like, ugh.
I'm enough with the friends. I don't need friends.
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
the romance. Oh, okay. And then I said in all caps, why is Lord Featherington flirting with the mom? Like, ew.
Yeah.
I hated that. I don't understand the whole point of including that.
It was just so weird. Like,
especially
I could
because
not.
he's literally engaged to your daughter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. At this point, I did make a note about this. I don't know if you felt this too, but I got a little annoyed with Lady Bridgerton. I kind of get annoyed with her because sometimes she's like, follow your heart, like fall in love, don't just get married for whatever. But then the next minute she's like, fake it, like fake that you are a certain way to keep our status and blah, blah, blah. And I understand to some degree, but I feel like she's so back and forth. I'm like, so what do you want them to do? Do you want them to follow their heart, or do you want them to like do the responsible, in quotes, right thing to do?
Yes, I think it's a very fine line, and I definitely agree that like her direction is not clear. Like, if I follow my heart and it's not good for our status, like, you're definitely not going to be okay with that, or are you? Like, it's just, yeah.
So just something worth noting, I guess. Yeah. But then we get a very important conversation between Penelope and Eloise, where Eloise is basically like, you know what, I'm just going to say that I'm Lady Whistledown, and then this can all be put to rest. I'm just going to do what the queen wants. And Penelope basically talks her out of it, which I was very stressed during that scene.
Me too. That entire scene, I was like, oh, I just, again, just no good decisions. Either way you go, it's just all bad.
The Bridgertons try to schedule the ball. They go to show up, and literally not one person has shown up. But this made me fall in love with Anthony.
Oh my God, me too!
When he was like, no, we're going to have a good time. And he brought his younger sister in, and they all danced together. And I was just like, that's what everyone needed. Just a moment to forget about everything and enjoy themselves. But then after all of this like ball situation, then Lady Whistledown's thing comes out with the stuff about Eloise.
This broke my heart. This broke my freaking heart, because you could just see Eloise's face just like fall and just realize that Penelope did go through with it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Like, it was just like not a good situation.
I know. And like, I know Penelope really thought like that was the right thing to do. She's like, this is the only way I can help my friend. but still, it was awful.
Going back to like the Bridgerton ball and when they were like dancing and like falling in love with Anthony at this like point and stuff, it was just so good. And it also just made me feel very happy to see like the family together and like happy because like Bridgerton is basically about the Bridgerton family. And I'm just like watching them just be so happy in a time of like high stress and tension was just like really, really nice. And then also the way that Anthony and Kate ended up together, they were like close together. And then Edwina saw.
Yes, you're right.
I was like, you guys need to take it down a notch.
But they literally cannot help themselves.
Yeah.
But then they are out in the garden. And here's a quote that I wrote down. It's maddening how much you consume my very being.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I like can't.
That is
literally
not
can't.
real. That's not real. But this whole thing in the gazebo or whatever it is, this was so good. There's so many good quotes. Like, whoever's listening, just go rewatch it. I probably will like 500 times. But the fact that they're both like, no, you need to be done. No, you need to be done. Because I can't handle this. I was like, this is so good. And then he goes, please go inside. Go inside. And then she's like, you know how I feel about being ordered around or whatever. And then it's like... And then like, everything just
like I think it's like a kink for them, like that her disobedience like turns him on, which I'm like, I guess like Anthony, if that does it for you, I guess. But I agree, their dynamic is just, oh my gosh, I can't.
It's literally so good. I fully like that scene was so perfect and so spicy. I feel like it was very worth the wait because the Bridgerton season 1, there was so much spice, but this one you had to wait for it and it was worth the wait.
So how did you feel about like less sex scenes?
I thought it was fine because of the nature of their relationship, because I was thinking about it and I'm like, it wouldn't have made sense for them to like have sex all the time. But I feel like for Daphne and the
Simon,
Duke, I thought it made sense.
No, you're right. Okay, I was, because when it first released on Friday, I saw articles saying like, oh, there's like less sex in season 2, and I was like, excuse me, but I definitely see though, because it's like the push and pull. It's like the enemies to lovers not really wanting to like be together. So I definitely understand now.
And not that this is like what it is, like they're not even remotely the same, but I think about the love hypothesis, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like there's only like one big like sex scene, right? But it's worth the wait because of how they lead up to it. I felt the same way about this.
Yes, exactly.
Like I didn't need the other stuff because the rest of the story was so good.
Yeah, I agree.
We find out that Anthony wakes up alone. And then I wrote a note that said, holy crap, is Anthony gonna propose? But then Kate was gone. And he was like, but I was gonna propose to her. But then the whole situation with the horse happens and Kate gets in the accident. And I was so stressed out.
Me too.
I was like,
freaking too.
No way.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? When he went back inside and pulled out that little ring box, I was like, he's gonna propose.
Right?
I was like, finally, Anthony, you're doing something right. You know?
Oh my gosh, finally. Like, why didn't you just do this in the first place?
Exactly.
Oh, but yeah, that is the end of episode 7.
Whew. Wow. Okay. Getting into the final episode 8, called The Viscount Who Loves Me. The Viscount. Why am I saying Viscount?
The Viscount. I was like, the Viscount?
I could even tell. I was like, that does not sound right.
Well, you said the Viscount, your brain paused. The Viscount. And you're like, wait, what am I saying?
That's not right. Okay. Episode 8, The Viscount Who Loved Me, which also, that's the title of the book, of the second Bridgerton book. And they did the same thing with season 1. The last episode was called The Duke and I, which is book 1 of Bridgerton.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I love that. And I hope that they continue it with like each season, because I think it's just like a cute little like bow tie, you know?
I think so too. Yeah. I totally agree.
All right. My synopsis is long, so.
Okay.
Just hold on tight, okay? Okay.
All right, I'm ready. You mean Wikipedia's?
Wikipedia's synopsis is very long, okay? Okay. 1 week later, Kate is still unconscious and Lady Whistledown has been suspiciously quiet. Portia, who is Lady Featherington, convinces Jack to host a ball to celebrate the family's recent successes and invites the Bridgertons and Sharmas. Eloise visits the printer again and attempts to deduce Lady Whistledown's identity with Theo, but eventually decides to end their friendship. Benedict learns that Anthony made a generous donation to the Academy when Benedict applied, and it is likely the reason he was accepted. Colin continues investment talk with Jack while Will Mondrick, now a proprietor of the Gentlemen's Club, suspects Jack of being a fraud. Kate awakens from her coma, and Anthony attempts to propose to her, but she declines, citing her desire to return to India. Edwina Edwina reconciles with Kate and convinces her to attend the Featherington ball before she leaves. After Penelope points out a piece of gossip about two of the guests, Eloise realizes she is Lady Whistledown, and the two later have an argument, ending their friendship. Meanwhile, Colin reveals that he has learned that Jack's rubies are fake. Portia turns on Jack and sends him back to America while keeping some of the funds he had gathered for herself. Penelope overhears Colin telling other gentlemen that he would never court her. Kate and Anthony dance at the ball, and the Queen expresses her approval, saving the families from scandal. Anthony and Kate declare their love for one another, and 6 months later, Kate and Anthony, now wed, join the rest of the Bridgertons for another game of Pall Mall at Aubrey Hall.
Oh, I love this episode.
Yeah. There's just so much that happens in this episode.
I know. It's insane.
To start off, I'm going to be 100% honest with you that I ugly cried throughout this entire episode.
Really?
Yes. It's crazy because I didn't cry this much during the last season. I think I cried for the last episode of season 1, but I didn't sob the entire way through that I did for this episode.
But because it's one thing after another, like just when you think you're going to get a break, then something else changes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's too much.
Yeah. And I think it's also too because it's like Kate and Anthony are like the oldest, and most of their like storyline and character arc is all about like upholding their place to run their family and making sure that everyone is successful and comfortable and yada, yada, yada. And like the weight of all of that is like so much, and I think that idea or like that theme just like hits home for me.
Totally.
All right, bringing Kate back to the house. So this picks up immediately after episode 7 ends. I said that this is probably so traumatic for Anthony to see another person he loves suffer like this.
Yep.
And
I can't.
I just felt for him. I was like, wow, dude, this is not what you need right now, you know? And interestingly enough, I thought this was like the first time that Anthony had allowed himself to feel feelings since his father died. And while I'm like proud that he was able to do that, it just took too damn long. It's like, come on, dude.
100%.
Okay, you're not going to like this, but literally my next note is, I officially do not like Colin. What he said to Mondrick in front of Jack. Colin is such a dumb bitch. I hate him. Like, here's the and then I said after the whole Marina thing and now this, I don't like him anymore, because it was basically like Colin saying that like Mondrick was wrong and that Jack is an honorable man.
But he redeems himself later in the episode, though.
It's not enough for me. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'll have him for myself. But like, I also fair because he was being horrible about it, but
he was just being naive in the moment. I was like, Colin, you're so way over your head. Like, you need to stop, please. Going back to the Bridgerton house in like the office / like library thing, I was upset that Anthony didn't visit Kate that entire week. And I was so angry when I first heard that. I was
too. You think you're having a hard time?
Yeah.
Kate's having a hard time.
Yeah. And
she needs you.
I was like, you were going to propose to her, yet the second she gets hurt, you can't even step in the room with her. I was just so confused and angry at him.
I think a lot of it's the trauma, man. A lot of it's the trauma.
It really is. But then his conversation with his mom opened my perspective on why he did what he did. I will say I ugly cried when his mom came in and said that she was awake and he just broke down. Like you could see him
remember, it was a point of conversation earlier that he didn't even cry when his dad died.
Yes.
So the fact that it all just hit him in that moment, my heart broke.
Yeah. You could just see it in him too, that he was so physically hurt too. Like he just could not physically handle it. And I was just like, wow. Like I feel oh my God, I cried so hard during that scene. So Lady Bridgerton does apologize for like what happened after his dad died and being like absent and all of that stuff, and him like taking on the burden of the family. Well, you know, it made me happy that she finally apologized. It was very late, but still happy she did it. It did make me sob though, because I was just like, oh my God, so much. Back to Kate. She's awake. She is functioning great. Anthony comes to visit her. He proposes to her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is it. And then she rejects him. And I'm like, what the heck? And she says that she's like planning to go back to India. Like this is not happening. Yada, yada, yada. I was so frustrated. I was like, what is happening right now? I'm confused.
Well, because she still hadn't had Edwina's blessing.
Yes, exactly.
At that point.
Yes.
And that was what she needed.
Yes. Ugh, I was so frustrated.
I know,
anyways,
me too. I was like, because it was the finale episode too, that I was like, are they not going to get together? Like that crossed my mind. I was like, is it going to be one of those?
Yes, that was my problem too, where I was like, I know this is the last episode. What is going to happen? I also thought it was funny that Kate told him to go away and then he finally listened to a command and he left. I was like, good, Anthony, you're learning. Jumping to Theo and Eloise. From last episode, I said, okay, just kidding. I love Theo. And he did it for a reason, referencing like the fight that they had.
Right?
I was like, oh, just kidding, Theo. Love you. I will say their like breakup broke my heart. It
was really sad.
It just confirmed like Theo's fears of like Eloise and like where she comes from and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, it was painful because again, they were both so happy together.
I know.
You know,
but I also feel like it was very much Eloise's first feeling about anything, that I feel like that was a good first relationship for her.
Oh,
like
100%.
I wasn't totally hooked on their love story.
Yeah.
But I thought, it was really sad.
It was kind of like Anthony and that other girl from last season. It's kind of like that. I think that's what Eloise needed.
Yes.
You
the
know?
opera singer.
Yes. And I think Eloise is kind of on the same path where there's like one person first, but then there's going to be another person later. All right. So then there's a conversation with Kate and Edwina. And I literally just said, Edwina is so smart and kind. I love her so much.
She's
like,
such a queen.
She is amazing. I love her. She's so composed, so smart. Like, oh, I love her. And then she basically told Kate to, you know, be truthful to yourself and kind of like live your life. And I was like, what? That's what Kate needed, you know? That's exactly what she needed. Another ugly cry moment when Anthony was telling his little brother about their dad. Like, I was just like, wow. I was like, this is so sweet, because like
So
his little
sweet.
brother, I think his little brother mentioned how I never really remember him, I don't know much about him, was he great, yada yada yada, and Anthony was like, yeah, he was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm
so
crying.
sweet. And I loved getting to see just a little more from like the younger kids, because we never get to see that, and so
Yes.
to see that relationship I thought was really cool.
Oh my gosh, another ugly cry moment. Sorry, okay. Another ugly cry moment during the talk with Kate and her mom. I think her mom says something along the lines of like, love is nothing ever owed. And I just like sobbed during that conversation.
Oh.
And I also just think that this like season really focused on like family, but I think it's also because of like Kate and Anthony's position being like the head of the family.
But I loved that. I
me
love the focus on
too.
family. I think it was really, really good.
Yes, I loved it. And then I say, miscommunication at bust. Oh, I hate this trope. We already know it. He does love you, Kate. Please stop with this delusion.
Right? I was like, oh my God. At this point, I was like, just be together already. Holy crap. Like,
Kate,
what more? What
Kate,
more?
he literally proposed to you.
I know.
Like, come on. But okay, to her defense though, she thought he was proposing because they slept together. And that's like bad, or, you know, it ruins your reputation or whatever the politics of it
whatever.
are.
You know what, Kate? Shut up. Shut up.
I know. I love that the sisters danced, Kate and Edwina, and they're just like, F the standards or F whatever society thinks.
We're gonna go
dance
enjoy
with you.
ourselves.
Yeah, I love that.
I loved that too.
And I think it was a great ending for their like arc together because it was really rough for the last couple of episodes, you know? I just have a general question. So people can touch hands now in season 2, but in season 1 they couldn't. Colin like grabbed her hand, was like, "Oh, I need to tell you something," and then he grabbed her hand and then walked away. But do you remember that art gallery scene with Daphne and Simon, and they like had their hands together but they didn't touch? Did that change?
Yes, I do. I think I don't know. Or maybe there's different standards for positions. I don't know, but there's a few things like that we've mentioned that it's like I don't. Because there are those differences.
I agree, because that whole touch thing in season 1 between Simon and Daphne was huge. Was so huge. So just seeing like Colin like nonchalantly grabbing Penelope's hand and like taking her off to like the library or whatever, I was like, I didn't know you guys could touch.
I also feel like maybe it speaks to the fact that everyone just views Penelope as not an option for anyone. She's just Penelope. Like, no one cares what happens with her, you know?
You're right. I thought it was so cute when he was like holding up the fingers. He's like, "How many fingers? Like, can you tell?" I was like, "That's so
loved
cute."
that part. And then he was 3 and then turns around and is 4. And I'm like,
I was like,
stop you a little flirting.
I was like, this is so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then you also mentioned it before, but Wrecking Ball plays, which is amazing. Like, so
Perfect
good.
song.
I love it too, because then everyone kind of like is staring at them, and then they all kind of leave the dance floor, and Anthony goes, "Just keep looking at me. No one else matters." And then my comment is BRB, crying, screaming, throwing up.
But honestly though, like he's just like, okay, you know what? Enough. Let's just have this moment.
Just like so sweet. Oh my God, we're gonna cry again. Okay.
Yeah.
This dance was insane. Like the tension between them and the need between them. There was some sort of like hand thing happening that they were like,
when it went
so
down
close.
in her eyes.
Yes. So close. Like I was
So
just
good.
like, you guys are gonna kiss right now. Like this is happening
In
like,
front of everyone.
I know,
but
really.
no.
Also, when the queen was like to Edwina, she was like, "I have a nephew. He's a prince and he's single." And I was like, yes. Because that's who
I want
Edwina needs.
to have. Yep.
Exactly. And I remember, I think from season 1, like the prince was actually really, really nice to Daphne. And I was like, I think that's perfect for Edwina, you know, and like everything
Totally.
she's looking for. Moving on to the Eloise and Penelope fight. This broke my freaking
heart.
Literally just shattered my world into a million pieces. I definitely agree with Eloise that Penelope has been manipulating everyone. Like a part of me was like, wow, you're so right. And also Penelope was kind of being super mean to Eloise, of being like, I think in episode 7, she was like, "Eloise, why can't you ever drop this like lady whistle down stuff? Like yada yada yada."
Really?
I was like, Penelope, you are literally just doing it like it's such a self-serving
protect
thing.
yourself.
Exactly.
Yep.
I was so annoyed. So when Eloise said that, I was like, yeah, you're so right. Penelope called out Eloise too, and I was like, holy crap, this is getting crazy. I'm just basically,
And I think Penelope finally broke, and she's like, I've had enough of this, and I'm just gonna let it all rip now.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, no, I was just, wow, yeah, no, this was like a really, really harsh scene. I was just like really sad.
Because I love their friendship too, that it just made me really sad for them.
Me too. When everyone goes out to like the field, and Anthony finds Kate, and he confesses he loves her, and he says, "You must feel it because I do. I love you." And in my comments, I say, "Oh, crying again."
That was so pure.
It was so. I also really liked it too, because then he finally confirmed that like he loved her because he literally loved her, not because they like slept together. He also says, quote, "I know I am imperfect, but I will humble myself before you because I cannot imagine my life without you, and that is why I wish to marry you."
I'm sorry, but for Anthony to say that
Yes.
is major.
Literally, like
I was crying.
Me too. I was like, wow, Anthony, you've come such a far way. Then she says, "There's not a day I won't vex you." And he says, "Is that a promise?" And I was like, Again, their dynamic is just so good.
So good.
Also, at the end of the episode, I found it so interesting that the narration switched to Penelope's voice for just a little bit. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Exactly. I feel like this will set her up in an interesting way for season 3, because I feel like maybe it's like going to be Penelope coming out more compared to Lady Whistledown. I think Lady Whistledown will still be a thing, but I feel like Penelope, after everything that happened, because then at this point too, Colin said the thing of like, oh yeah, no, I would never court Penelope, and then she runs back inside. I think this is just going to set up for like a crazy character arc.
Penelope's going to go cray.
Oh, I agree. Before the episode ends, we get a time jump of them just having the best life at Aubrey Hall. And I love that, like, we get to see them be like happy and loving each other. Like, that's all I wanted this season. And I'm so happy we got like a little glimpse of it. I also thought it was so cute when he was like, should we return upstairs? And she was like, and admit defeat? Never. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Because they're still so much themselves, but they're just in love now and happy.
Yes.
But also still challenging each other.
Yeah.
Which is like what their relationship needs.
I know. He's met his like equal match. And that's the end of episode 8 and concludes season 2 of Bridgerton.
Holy crap. I need season 3.
Same.
Immediately.
Same.
Where is it?
I need it, please.
It's not going to be out till next year, I don't think.
Oh yeah, no, not for a while. Which is fine.
Is so rude.
Because I'll rewatch season 2 again just for their dynamic.
I'm going to rewatch season 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
I just need the whole.
Yeah,
I want to watch it all in order.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was a doozy, so thanks for hanging in there this whole time. I hope you enjoyed it. And also, I was going to say, what's our next episode?
Yes, our next episode, Theoni and I are going to watch Olivia Rodrigo's recent documentary that was just released on Disney Plus, and we're going to talk about all of it. And I'm so excited.
I'm very excited too, because honestly, I've seen very little about it, so I don't really know how much is included, how much isn't.
Same.
Like, I really have no idea, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next week for Olivia Rodrigo, and we will see you next time.
Bye.